Hello, chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã quay trở lại với channel của mình và tiếp tục với series đọc truyện P31 by J.K. Berry của mình. Thì hôm nay chúng ta hãy tiếp tục đến với phần số 31. Okay. There were two large white eggs, and Peter lifted them up and reflated. The bird covered his face with the wings so as not to see the last of them. But she could not help peeping between the feathers. I forgot whether I have told you that there was a staff on the rock, driven into it by some burncammers of long ago to mark the site of the buried treasure. The children had discovered the glittering hoard, and when in a mischievous mood used to fling showers of Mordors, diamonds, pearls, and pieces of eight of their goons, who paused upon them for food, and then flew away, reaching the scurry trick trick that had been played upon them. The star was still there, and on this star he has hung his head, a deep tarpaulin water tie with a broad brim. Peter put the axe into its head and set it on the larkin. It flowed beautifully. Of course, when Peter landed the beach, he sparked in the place where the bird would easily find it. But the hat was such a great success that she abandoned the nest. It drifted about till it went to pieces, and often Starkey came to the shore of the lagoon, and with the birds now built in that shape of nest, with a broad brim on which the youngsters take an airing. Peter had saved tirelessly from a dreadful fate, and now there was nothing she and her grapes would do for him. All night they sat above, keeping watch over and their home under the ground, and awaiting the big attack by the pirates, which obviously could not be much longer delayed. Even by day they hung about, smoking the pipe of peace, and looking almost as if they wanted tidbits to eat. They called Peter the Great White Father, prostrating themselves before him, and she liked his tremulously, so that it was not really good for him. The Great White Father, he would say them in a very lordly manner, as they grew over his feet, is glad to see the pecuniary warriors for taking his wigwam from the pirates. Me, tirelessly, that lovely creature would reply. Peter Pan saved me. Me, his very nice friend. Me, no let pirates hurt him. She was far too pretty to cringe this way, but Peter thought it was his due, and he would answer constantly, "It is good." Peter Pan was spoken. Always when he said Peter Pan was spoken, it meant that they must know shut up. And they accepted it humbly in that spirit, but they were by no means so respectful to other boys, whom they looked upon as just ordinary braves. They said "how do" to them, and things like that. And what annoyed the boy was that Peter seemed to think this all right. Secretly, Wendy sympathized with them a little, but she was far too loyal a housewife to listen to any complaints against the father. Father knows best, she always said. Whatever her private opinion must be, her private opinion was that the Redskins should not call her a squaw. We have now reached the evening that was to be known among them as the Night of Nights, because of its adventures and their upshot. The day, as if quietly gathering its focuses, had been almost uneventful, and now the Redskins in their blankets were at their possible. Why, below, the children were having their evening meal, all except Pierre, who can gone out to get the time. The way you got the time on the island was to find the crocodile and then stay near him till the clock struck. It happened to be make-believe tea, and they sat around the board, guzzling in the grate, and really what with their chatter and recriminations. The noise, as Wendy said, was positively deafening. To be sure, she did not mind noise, but she simply would not have them grabbing things. And then I could suit themselves by saying that Tootles had pushed their evil. There was a fixed rule that they must never hit back at mules. I should refer the matter of dispute to Wendy by raising the right arm politely and say, I complain of so and so. But what usually happened was that they forgot to do this or did it too much. Silence, cried Wendy when, for the 20th time she had told them that they were not all to speak at once. Is your mug empty? Not quite empty, Mommy, Sly said, after looking into an imaginary mug. He has even begun to drink his meal, Nips interposed. This was telling, Slyly says his strength. I complain of Nips, he cried promptly. John, however, had held up his hand first. Well, John, might I sit in Peter's chair as he is not here? Sit in Father's chair, John, when he was screaming. Certainly not. He is not really our father, John answered. He didn't even know how a father's done till I showed him. I don't suppose, Toto said differently. So I could be father. No, Tootles, one Tootles began, which was not very often. He said, a silly way of going on. As I can't be father, he said heavily, I don't suppose, Michael, you would let me be baby. No, I won't, Michael rapped out. He was already in his basket. As I can't be baby, Toto said, getting heavier and heavier and heavier. Do you think I could be a twin? No, indeed, replied the twins. It's awfully difficult to be a twin. As I can't be anything important, said Tootles. Would any of you like to see me do a trick? No, they all replied. Then at last he stopped. I hadn't really any hope, he said, and her full telling broke out again. Slightly is coughing on the table. The twins began with cheesecakes. Curly is taking both butter and honey. Nips is speaking with his mouth full. I complain of the twins. I complain of the Curly. I complain of the Nips.